Hey guys, welcome back to the jungle, Sporangutan here. Welcome to my brand new channel about mycology. Here, I will document my journey so that we can all learn from not just my mistakes, but also huge successes as well. Just wanted to go over a few things again before we start this video. First off, I'm sorry for the lack of content this week, as I've been out due to a work-related injury. I'm still recovering, but slowly getting back on my feet. I hope you all will understand. I apologize for the missed upload on Tuesday, along with the late upload today that was supposed to be on Friday. Because of this setback, my deadline for the Discord has been pushed out until next Friday. I hope you all understand, as there's been a lot to just recover from this. I hope we all can create a great community around these amazing things we call fungi, along with make some amazing friends in the process. On my Discord, you will be able to get a hold of me with any myco-related questions. Along with this, we will be doing giveaways, group grows, and trading genetics as well. If you ever need any help, I will be on there daily to try to help everybody out that I can. You'll be able to access that through my Patreon, where I post daily updates for free. The only paid content to view is the fruiting content. Well, that's how I plan to eat. Recently, it has come to my attention that the Patreon isn't available to be read when you aren't a patron. I've been looking into this and have been trying to find a solution. I've already posted them as public view, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. Anyways, today we will be going over how to spawn your colonized grain to bulk substrate. This is a process in which you break up your grain and mix it in with the substrate you plan to use. Now usually, this will be a non-nutritious substrate such as cocoa coir, but you can also use manure or any other substrate as long as it's prepared properly. This one is my favorite part of this hobby, as it is the start of the very fast and very visual process of actually fruiting. To start, make sure you sanitize your workstation with 70% iso alcohol. Make sure your bins are washed out with soap and water, as well as your blades sterilized and your grain containers also sanitized. This process doesn't have to be as clean as I'm doing it, as like I said, I'm using a non-nutritious substrate. This means, really, I could handle it with my bare hands if I wanted to. You still have to have some sort of cleanliness when doing this, just not as much. This is because the grain itself should already be fully colonized, which leaves no uncolonized grain to get contaminated. Like I said, not as clean, but still decently clean. Don't go and eat hot wings, suck your fingers, and then spawn to bulk. Probably not the best idea. With your grain spawn, you want to make sure it's 100% colonized. If it isn't, that greatly increases your chance of contamination. I always do a full break and shake around 90 to 95% colonization, as this will show me if there's any underlying contamination or if it's bacterial at all. If it takes longer than 2 to 3 days to bounce back, you usually have some sort of problem. Next, spray in with just a little bit of water so that the liner sticks as you put it in. This is a real pain if you forget. Next, you want to break up your grain bag fully. I had accidentally opened the bag beforehand, so I just kept it shut as I broke it up. I'm going to take all the big chunks out and break them up as I pour my grain in. Now, this is a 3-pound bag of rye berries. I'm aiming to use around 1 pound per bin. This increases chance of success, as running 3 different bins, you will have to contaminate 3 different bins as opposed to 1 big bin. Especially during beginner grows, I would recommend you stick to smaller bins, as you can really learn a lot in a very short amount of time. After that, start grabbing some substrate. This batch of substrate was a little overhydrated, as it was my first run ever of CVG. We all make mistakes, and that's fine. Just squeeze your sub to field capacity and start mixing it into your bin. You're aiming between a 1:2 and a 1:4 ratio. This will keep colonization time low and produce a little more each flush. You can go higher than that, but it will increase contamination and colonization time. Once you have achieved a good 2 inches or more of substrate, you want to make sure all of your grain is fully broken up as well as mixed around the edges and bottom. This is where I would cut my liner. I really tried to make it easy and tried using a box cutter to cut it at first. This is bad because it can leave a crease in the bin where contamination and such would thrive. I quickly switched it up and used a pair of scissors instead, but there are some problems that do come with it. One of the main things that I realized is the corners of the bin are a lot harder to cut than the rest of the box. I've been looking for a different way to cut my liner since and haven't found anything quite as effective or quick as the scissors, so I'll stick to that for now. After I'm done trimming my liner, I make sure to level out and press down the cake. This will help you achieve a more even flush, along with also decreasing the amount that the substrate will shrink within the earlier flushes. This was my first time ever spawning to Bach, and I really have learned a few things since then. I hope that everything in this video helps you in one way or another, given the amount of information there is to cultivating, that it's impossible for a single person to know it all. I mean, I'm sure that there's huge mycologists that went to school and dedicate their lives to fungi and still don't know everything about them. This is an ever-growing space, as we haven't learned it all for sure. While you may not be the first person to try an idea, there is absolutely nothing wrong with doing experiments within control to really show how these organisms function and how we interact with them. For example, I have done my own experiment with these bins myself, which is definitely not recommended on your first bins. I decided to run a casing test between a true casing, a pseudo casing, and no casing, and really see what the difference was between them all. and then had to leave for vacation that I didn't realize was so close. Unfortunate situations happened, and all 3 of the cakes almost completely dried out due to the flipped lids getting knocked off while I was gone. Not to worry though, as every moment you should use to learn. I had not only learned how to save my cakes, but I happened to flush all 3 of them after the fact. Never toss a cake unless it's contaminated or the nutrients are depleted, as this can really show anything. Something that I learned myself is that each flush will come in differently in some slight way, it seems. Each time my bins flush, they either change size, thickness, or cap design. This is something that you can work towards on isolating and would help you in theory replicate or grow clusters you find in your bin, or really cool or really big fruit in general. This is what has drugged me so deep into this, as I can't wait to attempt to make my own line of genetics from a landrace or basic cube. This is going to definitely be something that we go over more in the future of this channel, as well as document my entire process here. Another thing that I noticed, so when you spawn to bulk, if you throw your substrate in first, then your grain spawn on top, it'll be a lot easier to mix in, as the spawn's already on top and the substrate will be in the corner instead of the opposite. This has been probably maybe 5 to 10 minutes of saved work, as I literally have to mix the bins that long just to make sure that they're fully mixed. Anyways, this is me applying the true casing. The goal of this is to provide better fruiting conditions as it traps humidity, as well as apparently causes some cultures to not blob up. I've heard multiple things about that, so I'm not entirely sure on if that's true or not. But we will see in the future when I do that experiment. With the casing, you are aiming for under an inch of substrate up top, covering the colonized cake. This shouldn't be a layer that colonizes fully during the first flush, as the mushrooms should poke their way out from the slightly loose substrate. Make sure to really get it covered and tamp it down as well. After you spawn the bulk, you want to place the lid back onto the container and let it colonize. After full colonization, you can flip the lid or add a dub tub and start regulating the humidity and FAE that way. You don't want to introduce FAE until full colonization, until you are experienced in seeing what the cake needs. This will prevent you from over misting or drying out the cake. Finally, this is what it should look like after you're done. Real quick, before I go, I have a website that I just created giving you all the opportunity to support the Sporangutan love, wearing my merch. Doing so helps me to turn this into my full-time job, or even part-time job. We have some really nice hats, shirts, hoodies, and even face masks so you can show your mushrooms you support me while doing your mycology work. Alright guys, that's enough from me right now. Make sure to drop a comment so that we can start doing a comment of the day at the beginning of my videos. We're almost there. Let me know what you would like to see, what problems you're having, or just let me know how your day was. Have a great day everyone, and be safe out there. Peace.